Hi everybody, I am your host and author Stevie Jo, and welcome to the Composition of Imagination. This is the channel where we talk all about my book series Angel of Death, anywhere from locations to plot to character development, book trailers, all that good stuff. And with me today are a couple familiar faces. Two of my book guardians. We have Superman and Moosey over here. This is the OG book guardian. So thank you guys for sitting in with me today. Back in February, those of you who have been watching the channel, we began a series called Murmurs of Murr County, and we dissect each character from the Angel of Death series as they progress through it. So, and it's book by book. Each video takes a different book. So in February, we started it and talked all about Skye. So that's our leading lady, for those of you who haven't read the series yet. So for the entirety of April, we're going to be talking all about Elias Luck. I cannot wait.
Joy.
I've been looking forward to this. Some haven't quite as much, but we're going to talk all about Elias today. So before we really get into his character development and things like that, I want to give a little background, what we know anyway, because he is kind of a mysterious character. So just like Skye was, we kind of have a leading man that we know next to nothing about, right? So at least from his past, from before book one started. So we're just going to focus this whole week. We're only going to focus on Elias as he is in the beginning, the very first book in the series. So there will be 3 videos this week. They will all be based around that. So be sure you look for those. And here is what we do know about Elias at this point when the book starts. 1, he's a mythic, which is a creature that has magic and, telepathy, all those kinds of things. And he's very ancient. We know he's been around for a few hundred years, at least. He has tattoos covering pretty much his entire torso and arms. What they all mean, look at you, what they all mean, we don't really know yet. We haven't gotten, in the first book, we don't get a super good glimpse into any of them. We just know that's what he looks like. We also know that he came to Murr County 3 years before in the beginning, and he built the Devil's Fountain, which is a bar. He built that in Falshook Mountain. So we also know physical description. He's tall with longer black hair. It's not quite long enough at this stage for a ponytail or anything, but it's long enough to be kind of around his face area. And he's got very pretty emerald green eyes. He likes to dress in business casual or a little more formal attire, frequently wearing button-downs with sleeves rolled up to the elbows, and he'll wear slacks mostly, but he does occasionally wear jeans. Sometimes he'll wear a vest, sometimes he doesn't. That's just his kind of dress attire.
I like how he dressed. That's one thing I gotta say. I do like how he dresses.
Very kind of smart, cool looking suave dress, I think.
A little dapper.
A little dapper. That's a good way to put it. And an important thing to note about his kind of past or who he is, it's only alluded to in the books, but it is important. Although Elias is centuries old, at least, he doesn't look it.
Yeah.
He's not like the old wrinkly man. You know what I mean? He looks like a guy in his 30s or 40s or something like that. So, and he always, another very important thing, he always has a black onyx gem on a gold chain, which comes into play quite a bit as we go through the series. So that's kind of his physical description, and the first question spawns from that. Why do you think he wears that black onyx necklace based only on the first book? What significance do you think it holds? Excuse me.
Me personally, I think it's a key to their actual soul.
Okay.
That's where they keep it.
Okay. When you say they, do you mean mythics?
Mythics, sanguis, who any creature that I guess has a certain amount of power.
Gotcha.
At least the way you've described it in the books, especially in the first book.
Yeah.
Is, those gems have very significant meaning.
Yeah.
Because they, whoever has one defends it with everything they have.
Yes.
So it could be potentially their soul. It may be key to their entire power.
Okay.
And that even if they give the gem away to, a beloved or something like that, there's still a connection to it. But if the gem was destroyed, that's it. Game over.
Okay. All right. Interesting theory.
That's a lot of what I was going to say.
Yeah. So now we're going to learn more about Elias to see if we can kind of decipher this mystery that's around him, since we don't know where he came from or anything like that. So the first time that we meet him in the first book, in the beginning, is all the way in chapter 9. It's almost halfway through the book. And if he's supposed to be our leading man, why would I wait so long to introduce him?
Because he's the cool bartender. You don't sit there and introduce the cool bartender until you've already introduced the bar.
That's true too. That's true. Because he is associated with the bar, and that is when he gets introduced.
But because he was slinging drinks when Skye and the rest of the crew roll in.
Yeah.
So what else? And your guard goes down when you're sitting there, obviously with alcohol,
true.
but the next best thing to talking to a doctor is talking to your bartender.
I know. Here's a question that I know has come up, and it will continue to come up until we get a solid answer on it. Elias didn't know what drew him to Murr County at first. But when he encountered Alchemic Falls, and it says this in the book, when he encountered Alchemic Falls, he said he had his answer. But he never tells us what that answer is. So what do you think drew him there? What is the answer that he thinks he got?
I think it's just a little bit of the other mythics that may be there.
Okay.
And just something kind of drawn in there with the other townspeople. I feel like between everything else that's going there, and it could have possibly something to do with his necklace, but just everyone else being there kind of is like calling his energy, sort of.
Okay.
I know you described where he goes to Alchemic Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, even if it was something as simple as running his hand through, gave him a vision.
That's true, because we do learn that
because he didn't know Skye when he got there, and yet he immediately, as soon as he met her, knew her.
Yeah.
So my thinking is that in a way, some of the power of the falls connected with his built-up power over the years and gave him a vision of, well, this is coming. This is why I need to be here.
Okay. So Eli's introduction into this series is very important, because not only do we see a little bit of who he is and kind of answering some of these, like, what kind of person are you questions, but we see, more importantly, who he is around Skylar. We kind of see, of course, that he's attracted to her, although he doesn't outright say it, but you can definitely tell that he cares very deeply for her. By the way that he treats her, Yeah. And we start to really see, because when we're introduced to him, Skylar is coming to see him. So we start to see this comfortable dynamic between them, and we're introduced to that in the middle of a crisis. Because in chapter 9, Skye comes to him to announce that she accepted a marriage proposal from Ezra. And she says it in a way that she says she was compelled to agree to marry him that weekend. And although Eli is upset about it, he tries to give her kind of a pep talk to help her through it as best he can, also trying to figure out how she feels about it. And when he asks her to tell him exactly what she wants, she leans in to kiss him, and he rejects her. Why? I mean, you have to
I don't want to be the other dude.
You have to
No.
think, when he said, from a guy's perspective, I feel like you have to know, when he says, tell me what you really want, you have to expect that's going to be the answer. So why ask if he was only going to tell her no?
Okay, because he lives by a set of rules. And those rules
He's
are
so
very...
frustrated with these rules.
And he's trying to be the proper gentleman.
Yeah.
And granted, as much as he wants to sit there and be like, all right, let's just tear into this, let's go.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't want to be that guy. Because really, I think in his mind, he feels like he'd be on the same level as Ezra. And
That's a very good point.
he, even though he doesn't flat out say it, I mean, he pretty much despises the guy.
Yeah.
As do most everybody else. So
We'll get into that, too.
yeah.
Because he had to know whether it was for his sake or for her sake. He had to know, which is why he asked her.
So kind of
And
putting, like, he wants it put out there.
Yes,
He wants it
yes.
into the world, is
Yes,
what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to see her real intentions.
And that kind of goes back to things you've told me before, just not related to this, but where it's like, sometimes a guy needs it just flat out spelled out.
Yes, 100%.
Letter for letter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that sounds like that's what we're thinking, Elias. So,
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
It
depends
really
on the scenario.
Very much so.
And I think in a case like this, it is valid to be like, spell out for me exactly what you want.
Cut the bullshit.
Yes.
This is it. Get to the point.
Yes. So as the chapter closes, Eli is worrying that his care for Skye is going to be dangerous in the end, but that's okay because danger is his middle name. So why do you think Elias Danger Luck? Why do you think what do you think he means by that? What could be dangerous about caring for Skye? And since when is it dangerous kind of a fun question. Since when is it dangerous to care about a woman?
All the time.
Okay, I was going to say.
No, I was
100%
going
of
to
the
have
time.
both of you. I had to ask that question jokingly because I knew it'd be like, are you kidding me?
100% of the time.
I was going to say, dude, you take the lead on this one.
So what do you think is dangerous about caring for Skye from Elias's perspective?
I mean, at that point, she said, it's been a little while since I read the first
That's
one.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's engaged to
So
Ezra.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's why.
Do you think that's the only reason why? Or is there something more that we're not privy to that he's thinking in his mind?
Yeah, there's definitely more that he's thinking of because he recognizes her potential,
Yeah.
but doesn't realize how strong it could be and is afraid to, commingle that stuff together with his.
Yeah.
Because it could be one of those things, two parts come together and the explosion's 3 times the size they originally predicted.
And you have talked about that before, where it's like, it's such a struggle seems like such a struggle to get them together, so something paramount must be happening.
But that's one of the mysteries that, hopefully here in the later books really gets fleshed out, because it is frustrating because he keeps going, well, it's dangerous. Oh, it could be terrible and stuff. And it's like, dude, explain yourself.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we're just sitting there going, you're just holding out to see if she goes, pardon the expression, she goes batshit crazy. Because that's kind of what's going on.
So let me ask you this. Do you think, kind of leading off of that, do you think that he's like, there's something about maybe in his past he's had issues with telling women who he is and what he can't do, so he's really treading very carefully here. You know, like maybe he's been burned before and that's what's taking him so long.
That's a very big possibility.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
myself, I've been burned several times. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to sit there and keep somebody on a, 20-foot pole.
Yeah, like arms
The
length
whole-
and longer.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Especially if you do have feelings, you're just going to sit there and say, well, we're just going to go into that fire. If I get burned, great. If not, oh well.
Yeah.
You know what? Live and learn.
Yeah.
Because you can't live like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do, you might as well just go ahead and set yourself up in a monastery, and there you go.
And he's lived a long time. So to think that this might be how he's been living his life, I mean, that's gotta be
But,
fucking miserable.
I wonder if the times he got burned, he was actually like dating or was romantically involved with a human.
Oh, that's
Nobody
interesting.
that, or somebody that didn't have any power,
Yeah.
or
And like couldn't understand what he's
Yeah.
going through because they're not the
and
same.
he hid it, and then when he finally revealed it, the poor girl's psyche got shattered or something.
That's very
Or
interesting.
maybe even to a point where they might have been intimate, and maybe some of his power came out, like he maybe fractured her mind or something, with
Okay.
telepathy. Who knows?
Okay.
And when that happened, he felt that guilt and is carrying it and now using it as a crutch so he can string people along.
Okay. That's very interesting. So if y'all were Elias, just kind of random question popped in my head. If y'all were Elias, would you have handled that situation the same way? Or would you have done something different?
I love how she just says compelled.
Uh-huh.
And Elias's ears went bing.
Uh-huh. So that's why I asked, would you have handled it the same way? Because that's a very sensitive situation.
I probably would have, but more so. So to turn the volume up to 11.
So even more cautious than what Elias
Yeah.
was being.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Same thing?
Actually, I would handle it that way, but with the rejection, I would sit there and say, this is not the time. Versus just
A
straight
flat
out,
out no.
yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. So that's awesome. A great start. Good, strong start to our Elias discussion. So thank you guys for participating. Thank all of you for watching. We are going to continue this discussion for Elias from In the Beginning on Wednesday. So be sure you tune in. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. Give the video a thumbs up. And we love you, and we'll see you later on.
Catch up on the Angel of Death series today. The first 4 entries are now available directly at steviejoauthor.com.